A story people think is fake. A lot of people seem to think the story is fake, but it's not. That's the strange thing about truth. The more painful and complicated it is, the more people assume it must be fiction. They treat real trauma like entertainment, real heartbreak like a plot twist. They laugh at the idea that someone could go through so much and still be standing. But I assure you, every word I'm about to tell you happened exactly as I remember it. And I wish with everything in me that it was fake. If I could rewrite the past, erase the guilt, and choose a version of life that didn't weigh on my conscience like a mountain, I would do it without hesitation. I wish this was a made-up story I typed on a random Tuesday night, but it isn't. This is truth carved into bone. I swear on my son's life. I swear on all 5 of my kids. This story is 100% true, and this is how it played out. When I was 19 years old when I met a woman named Ebony. 19, that awkward age where you feel grown but you're barely stepping into adulthood. The age where you think passion equals love and chaos equals chemistry. Ebony came into my life like a flame in the dark, wild, beautiful, intense, hard to control, and impossible to forget. Our love story went like countless young people's stories do, blazing at the start, burning out slowly, leaving behind ash and scars. It was passionate, but it was unstable. It was exciting, but it was unhealthy. And like many young couples, we didn't know how to communicate. We knew how to fight, though brutally, loudly, and often during our time together, arguments became a regular part of our lives. Little things became big things. Big things blew up into disasters, and when she was angry, Ebony knew how to cut deep with her words. She would look me dead in the eyes and say things like, "You're not S asterisk asterisk, you're never going to be nothing, you're worthless. You'll never make it." She knew exactly where to aim. Exactly how to hurt me. And at 19, with no emotional maturity or self-worth, her words stuck like needles. I didn't know how to defend myself without screaming back. We were toxic together. 2 young people drowning and trying to hold on to each other at the same time. After about 2 years of that cycle, the highs, the lows, the blows, I finally reached a breaking point I didn't know I was capable of reaching. It hurt, but I removed myself from the relationship. I couldn't handle the constant fighting, the disrespect, the emotional exhaustion, but I don't regret being with her, not even 1%, because that relationship taught me what I would never again tolerate in love, and because it gave me my son, my firstborn, my anchor, my reason for pushing forward. That child was worth every tear and every argument. The promise I made, one of the last arguments we ever had, is burned into my memory. In the middle of shouting, insults and frustrations that had been building for years, I said something that would end up shaping the next 2 decades of my life. I told her, "In this game of life, I will not lose, I promise you this. When everything is said and done, I'll be on top and you won't. I hate losing, and I will not lose. The moment the words left my mouth, something inside me clicked. Something woke up. That sentence wasn't about winning against her. It was about refusing to fail myself. That promise turned into fuel I didn't know I needed. It stuck with me like a vow, a contract sealed by frustration and fire, and I kept it. Leaving Ebony and raising my son alone, when I left Ebony, I didn't leave my son. I took him with me. I was young, scared, and broke, but I was determined to be the father he needed. I didn't care how hard it would be. I wasn't going to let him grow up in instability. Eventually, I met another woman, the woman who would become my wife. She was kind, steady, patient, and loving in ways I didn't even know were possible. She showed me what real partnership looked like, what real love felt like, and she accepted my son as if he were her own. We got married, built a home, brick by brick, and started our life together. Then one day Ebony contacted me. She asked me to take her daughter, the little girl she had with another man. Her voice was frantic, desperate, cracking at the edges. She told me she had nowhere else to send her child. She said she wanted her daughter to at least be with her brother. She said she trusted me more than anyone else. The irony wasn't lost on me. I didn't give her an answer right away. I went to my wife, explained what Ebony had said, told her how conflicted I felt. I expected hesitation. I expected anger. I expected frustration. Instead, my wife said, "We may not have much, but we have food on the table and a roof over our heads. That child needs us. I'm not going to let a kid who has nowhere to go suffer." Those words, I'll never forget them. So we took the little girl in, and from that moment on, she was part of our family. The deal I offered Ebony after agreeing to take both children, my son and Ebony's daughter, I made her a promise. A deal, an opportunity, I told her. You don't have to pay child support. You don't have to send money. I want you to have a relationship with the kids, but you need to get stable first. So I'm giving you 5 years. Go to school, get a college education, make something of yourself. Be stable so you can help raise them. It was a generous offer, a huge sacrifice on my end. I was taking responsibility for 2 children, one of whom was not biologically mine. I was giving her time to rebuild her life. I honestly thought she would take the opportunity and run with it. She didn't. The 5 years of silence while my wife and I worked full-time jobs, went to school full-time, raised 4 kids, and scraped by financially. Ebony spent her 5 years partying. Every time I reached out, she was drinking. Out with random people, posting pictures with new tattoos, living carefree. Whenever I tried to remind her gently about the deal we made, she would snap. "Shut up, you're not my father. You're weak. You're pathetic. You're a piece of S*****. It became pointless to argue, so I stopped trying. I focused on my wife, my kids, my responsibilities. I worked overtime. I worked weekends. I studied at night. I did whatever it took. After the 5 years ended, I asked Ebony a simple question. What did you do with the time I gave you? She had nothing to show. Nothing. So I put her on child support. The moment I did, she exploded. I was every name in the book. She told me I was ruining her life. She told me I was selfish. She told me I was evil. And all I asked was $180 a month for a woman whose 2 children I was raising entirely on my own. She sent 1 hat and 1 jacket over 5 years. That was it. So I filed the paperwork, and she never forgave me for it. But I didn't care. I had a promise to keep. I will not lose. Building a life. As the years went by, my wife and I fought our way up from nothing. We lived in a small trailer. We shared bills. We sacrificed luxuries. We worked out, got healthier, learned discipline. We slowly built a better life for ourselves and our kids. Meanwhile, Ebony spiraled. She was angry at me, always angry, even though I was raising her daughter, even though I gave her 5 free years. Even though I kept her involved whenever she wanted to be, but I kept moving forward. Time moved fast. 5 years became 10. 10 became 15, and through all those years, Ebony offered no help, no support, no stability. But I never complained. Because complaining doesn't build anything. Work does. Consistency does. Character does. I didn't forget what I promised. I wasn't going to lose. 8. The court meeting. 15 years later, the court summoned Ebony to explain why she wasn't paying child support. It had been years since she'd seen the kids. Years since she'd stepped into my life. Years since she had said anything positive. After court, I practically begged her to come see the children. She wasn't going to. I don't know if it was shame, discomfort, resentment, or avoidance. But she agreed only after I insisted. She came with her boyfriend of many years. When they pulled up to my house, the look on their faces said everything. Their eyes widened, their jaws dropped. They looked around slowly, taking in the property, the land, the cars, the life I had built from the ground up. Her boyfriend said, "Man, I'm not gonna lie. You've got a beautiful house. And nice cars, too." Ebony said the same, disbelief dripping from her tone. She asked, "How much land do you own?" So I walked her to the edge of the road, pointed toward the long driveway in the distance, and said, "You see that driveway way down there? I own everything from that point." Her eyes followed the line of trees, the long stretch of property, the grass shimmering under the sunlight. She didn't say anything. I took her to the backyard, even more beautiful, and told her how far the land went. She looked stunned, and we hadn't even stepped inside the house yet. Inside the house I showed them around. Her boyfriend complimented everything. The layout, the decor, the space. He said I was doing it big. Meanwhile, Ebony's face tightened with each compliment he gave me. Then came the moment she saw my wife. My wife, who had lost weight, started working out, took care of herself, and even got a tummy tuck, looked incredible, strong, confident, glowing. I knew it would bother Ebony, and it did. Later that week, Ebony called me and said, "Oh, I bet you think your little bitch-ass wife is cute, huh?" Her words, not mine. But my wife laughed when I told her. She thought it was hilarious. I continued the tour. Downstairs, I showed the man cave, the gaming setup, the multiple monitors, the brand new PS5 that had just come out, my gun collection, my hobbies, my comfort spaces. Her boyfriend kept praising me, and the more he did, the more Ebony's expression twisted anger, jealousy, regret, frustration, all in one. She couldn't hide it. The moment she acknowledged everything when they were getting ready to leave, Ebony surprised me. She said, "I have to give it to you. You have a wonderful life. You worked hard for it." I wish I had done the same. It was the first sincere sentence she had spoken to me in nearly 20 years. So I gently reminded her of what I had said so long ago. "I told you I wasn't going to lose." She looked at me and said, "You were right." For the first time, she understood. For the first time, she saw the difference between what she chose and what I chose. I told her I never hated her. Not then, not ever. I told her all I ever wanted was for her to succeed. I told her I wanted the best for her and our kids. Something changed in her face. Something cracked, but I had no idea how deep it went. Ebony's decline after that visit, Ebony's depression deepened. I didn't know how bad it was. Her boyfriend didn't even know. She began drinking heavily, far more than I realized. She called me sometimes angry, crying, drunk, saying things like, "Not all of us have the perfect wife. Not all of us can take vacations every year." The passive-aggressive resentment never stopped. Eventually, our kids became adults. All of them. Ebony and I barely talked anymore. Until one day, one phone call. The call that changed everything out of nowhere. Ebony called me. The moment she spoke, I could tell something was wrong. Terribly wrong. Her voice was weak, shaky, full of fear I had never heard before. She told me, "I'm in the hospital. My liver is shutting down. The doctors told me if I take one more drink, I'll die." I froze. I had no idea her drinking was that bad. No idea her body was failing. No idea she was that close to the edge. For the first time in nearly 20 years, the hatred was gone. The anger was gone. Every insult she ever threw at me disappeared into the background. We talked, really talked. She cried. I listened. She told me how sorry she was. I apologized too for my part, for the years of tension, for the mistakes we both made. She asked me to promise her something. She begged me. "Please take care of the kids. Always. Promise me." Her voice trembled. She was scared. Truly scared, and I promised her it was one of the most emotional conversations of my life. I didn't know it would be our last. Ebony died 2 days later, on the floor of a hotel room. alone. After her death months later, I called her boyfriend to check on him. I brought up the last conversation I'd had with Ebony, the hospital call. He went silent. He told me he had no idea she was dying, no idea her liver had failed, no idea she had been told she might not survive. She never told him. They had been together for over 10 years. He had no clue. That broke something in me. The truth, I never told anyone. I never told anyone how much Ebony's death affected me. Not my wife. Not my kids. No one. Except her daughter, the one I raised as my own. I missed Ebony. I still miss her. I feel guilty, and that guilt eats at me, because when she was scared, truly scared in her final hours on this earth, she called me, not her boyfriend, not her friends, not her family, me, the man she once screamed at, the man she once insulted, the man she once claimed she hated. She called the one person she trusted, even when she couldn't admit it. I carry that. I carry it every day. The confession to my wife years past. Life moved forward. But something in me remained stuck on that hotel room floor where Ebony took her last breath. One day after work, memories of Ebony hit me out of nowhere. I cried the entire drive home, something I rarely do. It overwhelmed me. The guilt, the grief, the what-ifs. That night, I finally told my wife everything. Everything I had held in 4 years. She listened. She held space for me. She didn't judge, but the truth didn't get any lighter. It still sits in me. A story I wish wasn't real. A woman I wish had chosen differently. A life that could have been something else.